everyone. Good evening. In and outside Mexico, it's 9 o'clock of Thursday. Wednesday, probably. Tuesday, June 2020. I'm so happy to be here with you in the 6th emission of Genie in the Bottle, a program that has been placed in many other shows online, and many topics have been suggested for this program, and we're looking for all those people around the world who can have all that knowledge so we can share with you. We have a great show tonight because it's not directly only for dentists, but to anyone who during these times, these months, has someone who has felt that they need a new direction in their lives, and that they're looking for innovation and change. And we're going to speak about that with someone who lives from innovation. But before that, and I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. I'd like to also receive in this program to my good friend, Dr. Sergio Curiel Torres. Hello, Sergio. Good evening, everyone. I'm so happy to be here for a few minutes. Good evening. Thank you. Many of you know him. He's in charge of all the education programs of ADM. He's been on that position for more than 10 years already. And to all those who have received speakers from their different associations in all the states of the Mexican Republic, it's been thanks to Dr. Sergio Curiel's work. And he's my guest tonight because from today and from the show, new shows have come to life. And Ortho Talks, for example, is one of those shows, and it's been a successful one. And we are also creating an Endo Talks program, and Dr. Sergio Curiel will be taking this show. How do you feel about this, Sergio? Well, I'm so glad about this invitation, and thank you to the Azentales. And we have a great proposal for you, and to give you all the information regarding endodontics. And regarding endodontics, you know that apical surgery, retreatments, medication, everything that has to do with endodontics. So I think it's going to be such a great show for all of you who work on endodontics and focus practically in a general focus, and also carried by specialists in the field. And also we will have the best experts in for this show. How long have you been teaching in La Salle University, Sergio? Well, La Salle Bajío, I've been there for 23 years already. 23 years where I've been educating and also being educated by my mentors. And this is a time also to get to this digital wave. And I'm glad it's you. You know, you're a guest of a show tonight. Someone who has taken care of educating in post-grade studies, and through this digital platform, you can reach all those places and people that sometimes don't have the means or the time, or who are afraid to come to Mexico City to specialized training groups. And yes, the idea is to relate endodontics with other fields, for prosthetics, for example, and to bring to the table some speakers that can share their knowledge in a short period of time, and practical knowledge too. Something that can, that's practical for the people who are listening to us. And also, I'd like to bring teachers and ex-students who are great professionals, and also speakers from other countries too. That's the idea for sure. Well, congratulations for this initiative, and also to Ideas Dentales for participating. Thanks for being here, and please stay among us because we're going to have a great talk tonight. Thank you. Yes, honey.
gracias
Uh,
por la invitación
Thank you
y
for the
al maestro
invitation, and
Carlos y
also
a ti, Jaime,
Professor
por todo el
Carlos and
equipo
you,
de
Jaime, and all
ideas
the
y
group of
a
Ideas
la compañía
Dentales
Produce
and Produce
que siempre se
Company
luce
like
por
as
estos
usual.
programas también.
You're doing a great job.
Gracias. Y pues
Thank you.
precisamente para
And
sostener estos
also
programas en
to
los que
keep
todos
these programs
aparecemos,
where we all
por lo
appear
pronto no nadie recibe
in a
un
pro
honorario por
bono
aparecer aquí,
way.
pero gracias a
But
nuestros
thanks to
patrocinadores,
our
veamos
sponsors,
ahora
let's
un video
watch a
precisamente
short
de una
video
compañía que
about one
aporta
of our
mucho para este programa. Muchas
sponsors.
gracias, Sergio.
Thank
Gracias.
you, Sergio.
Observa el estado de la salud de la cavidad bucal mediante la detección de actividad bacteriana de una forma más clara, sin la necesidad de utilizar agentes externos. Visualiza placa dentobacteriana activa y no activa, microfracturas, filtración de restauraciones, caries, desmineralización, valoración de estado periodontal, valoración de prótesis dentales, zonas retentivas de placa dentobacteriana, auxiliar visual para el paciente. Funciona a través de la tecnología QLF, que incide la fluorescencia sobre uno de los elementos residuos de las bacterias. La porfirina que se revelará en el filtro de la pantalla, marcando un color más rojizo, dependiendo de la cantidad de porfirina presente, lo que diferenciará la placa nueva de la placa vieja, así como las zonas de gran actividad bacteriana. Encuentra esta poderosa herramienta para llevar a cabo todas tus mejores ideas dentales.
So
I'm glad to be back and
receive
receive our new
Hola, ¿cómo
guest,
estás? Qué gusto estar
Carlos.
aquí
How are
contigo.
you? I'm glad
Es
to
mi
be here.
dentista, por cierto.
He's my dentist, by the way.
Bueno, es una gran
Well,
historia que nos ha
that's
juntado
another
varias veces en
story,
la vida y
that
después de muchos
has
años nos volvimos a
kept us
encontrar
together
y ha sido realmente
throughout
un
life.
gusto
And
ver
it's been such a
todo lo que has
great
hecho
experience to
y lo que
see
sigues
what you're
haciendo y
doing, what you
una fuente
are
creativa
currently doing. You're
que
such a
mejorar, ¿verdad?
creative person.
Si me apoyan en producción,
So
les
please,
voy
in
a platicar un
production, I'd
poquito
like to
del
tell you a
currículum
bit about
de
the
el maestro Carlos
resume
Glad. Él
of Professor
estudió
Carlos
diseño
Glatt. He
industrial,
studied
tiene
industrial
maestría en
design. He has
innovación,
a
posgrados
master's
en
in
psicología del
innovation,
consumidor,
post-grade
creatividad,
studies in
negocios y
creativity,
mercadotecnia.
business and
Escribió el libro
marketing.
Giro de
He's written the
720
word
grados,
Giro de
curiosidad,
720
creatividad y
grados,
felicidad.
curiosity, creativity,
Experto
and
consultor
happiness.
de nuevos
He's a
modelos de negocio
consultant
bajo la
of
plataforma
new
My Coffee
business
Guru,
models
que así fue
under
como
the
nos
platform Real
reencontramos
Futuro.
precisamente a
That's how
través
I
de esa
encountered
plataforma
him
en la
lately.
que genera
And during
innovación
with this platform,
disruptiva
where
por medio
he
de
generates
plataformas
disruptive
en línea, conferencias y
creation,
asesorías
creativity, and
infinidad de
innovation, and a
compañías
great
trabajando.
deal of companies work with him.
También es speaker
He's also a
profesional,
professional
ha
speaker.
representado
He has
conferencias,
represented and
ha
presented
presentado conferencias
lectures
en foros
in
internacionales
international
como el IADF en
summits like
Washington,
AADF
USA,
in
Safe
Washington,
America
Safe
Summit,
America
Atlanta,
Summit,
Estados
Atlanta,
Unidos, Aid and
USA,
Trade
Aid and
Conference
Trade
en
Conference,
London,
London, UK.
en la Gran Bretaña.
Uh,
Y ha ganado numerosos
he has
premios
won
internacionales como el
several
Pitch Palace
international
LATAM
prizes
Latinoamérica
as
y
Pitch
Global
Fellows Latam and
2016,
Global
Safe
2016, Safe
America
America
2016,
2016,
Mofilms
Muslims
Access
Access
2015,
2015,
Diseña México
Diseña Mexico
2016, BID
2016, BID
2016
2016
Madrid. Su
Madrid.
trabajo ha
His
sido
work has
publicado en
been
más de
published
100
in more
medios,
than
entre los que
100
destacan
means
Wired Global,
within you can
CNN,
find
Expansión
Global
y
Wire,
Grupo
CNN,
Reforma.
Expansion, and Reforma Group.
Wow, ¿a qué horas hiciste
Wow.
todo eso? Yo te dejé era
When
súper
did you do
poquito.
that? I,
Me dediqué a,
well, I've
a
been
trabajar,
working,
lo que
I've
hacemos
been
todos aquí.
working. We've been
Y
all
ahora
doing
peor.
working, and I've been working a
Pues
lot
adelante,
lately. So please, let's go ahead.
adelante.
Uh,
Gracias por la
Thank
invitación.
you for the invitation.
Normalmente cuando voy al dentista
Normally,
me
when I
pongo
go to the
nervioso,
dentist, I get so
entonces es un
nervous and
reflejo
fidgety.
de que los
So,
ojos salen muy diferentes.
well, this is not what
Este es
really
mi
happens to me.
libro, uno de
This
mis
is my
libros que
book,
tengo, se
one of
llama
my
Giro de
books,
720 grados, en el
720
que de lo que hablo
turn.
es que
And this is where
siempre
I
me
speak about.
preguntan cómo soy
They
creativo,
always
por qué soy
ask him,
creativo.
why are you
Como
so
si yo
creative?
supiera, siempre
As if
digo,
I
si
knew
alguien corre 100
why.
metros
Well, maybe,
en 10
in 10
segundos, no sabe
seconds,
por qué lo
I don't
corre a esa
know
velocidad,
why.
simplemente porque
It's just
quiere.
I'm being
Entonces me
creative.
puse a hacer un trabajo de
So I started
investigación, me fui a
working,
universidades,
and I
tuve
went to
mucho
university. I
conocimiento
studied
de
lots of
creatividad.
things,
Entonces
and
un
to
día
find out why
descubrí
am I
que yo
creative. And
era
once I
curioso,
discovered that I
no
was
creativo.
curious, not
Y lo que
creative.
plantea el libro
So
es,
what the
si
book
te quieres
speaks
volver
about is that if you want to
creativo,
become more
vuélvete
creative,
primero
you
más
have to
curioso.
become more
Eso te
curious.
vuelve más creativo.
And that
La gente
makes you more creative. Creative people are happy with their work, and people who's happy at their work, they're always everywhere, putting their nose everywhere. So that's what you should do. Just become curious, and that's what I've been doing when when I'm a consultant. I explain people how to become creative. So since I've always been a consultant for many companies, I've been analyzing towards where creativity is moving now. So let's start. First of all, one of my favorite phrases is during when we have abundance, all the cows must learn to produce milk by themselves. And what do I want to say with that? During these months, we've been learning to do things that we never thought about. We've been learning to cut our hair by ourselves, and I couldn't take care of one of my teeth, but I learned many other things. We all learn new different things during these months. So now I'm going to ask you to open your mind and imagine yourselves as non-dentists. You're not a dentist. A part of you is a dentist, and another part of you is just a person who can create new things. Maybe, maybe within the dental world, or maybe in a bakery because you like baking. Just give yourself a chance to imagine everything you can are capable of doing. I don't know if you're familiarized with the concept of blue ocean and blue and red ocean. In red ocean, we always compete for a prize one by one. It's always a crash. And in the blue ocean, that's where you see big spaces and huge areas. And there's a new ocean now, a yellow ocean or a purple orange or whatever you can imagine, any color you like to pick. And you must find non-research markets, people who are fabricating masks that did not exist before. Number two, you have to work faster than the confidence. You have to look for demand where this demand did not exist before. You have to work with less resources, and you have to survive. So I decided to speak about different topics. The first of them is resilience. Resilience, in a nutshell, is the ability of this band to become to its original form. So the other day I saw this material, which was a metal, when it was heated, did not become to its original form. So whoever's not resilient nowadays, they have a problem because you are being anxious. You have to learn to become resilient. You need to know how to come back and how to carry all this situation. People who have done lots of things in their life are very resilient. People who have always followed a straight path, they're not resilient. So you have to study about resilience. In the last 10 days, the world changed more than in the last 10 days. And why 10 days and not 3 months? Because every 10 days, things change every 10 days. We're not understanding many things daily. So nowadays, the world is just a series of changes and changes, and you have to adapt to them. Within these changes, some people win and some other lose. Some win, some lose. You have to be part of the winners. So prepare yourself because not everyone loses. Many people say nobody wins. Or for example, who created Zoom, this platform, it's worth a lot more than 7 airlines. If you put together all these 7 airlines, Zoom, it's worth more than those 7 airlines. Everything's going crazy. So what's happening is, remember when we had these videos? So what happened? They became something that was smaller, smaller, smaller until it's just invisible. Everything, they transformed. They became digital, totally digital. Many of the works and jobs that we're doing there, they're having these digital transformation. So you can stay here or you can become in a digital thing. I don't know how to do that with a dentist. to make it clear, but remember, I'm speaking about everything you can do, not just in your expertise area. I found many principles, like 15 principles of business from COVID. So the first one who will, make you turn around, it's this. Did you recognize this? We all know what this is. We all know what happened with toilet paper. You know what happened? Because just because the human needs are exactly the same. If you see that pyramid where you see physiological needs and self-esteem and human being, well, the biggest, those are the basic needs. We all have the same needs. They're just the same. They're all equal. Then, things today have to be totally authentic. If this is milk, it's milk. There are no copies. I just saw a friend who made something which is almond milk and coconut milk. Well, they're just helping people who drink milk to come to almond milk. Everything has to be authentic because we're all assessing authenticity. And there's something really weird going on too. Before, we had middle products. We had products which are the typical clothing and all that kind of things. Today, we're going to have basic stuff like soap or experiences. Middle products will be difficult to be sold. When you get to your clients and you approach them today, you need to know who they are. I know that for you it's so important to know who you're taking care of. But there's a moment where we stop seeing them as people and we see them as an individual without a head. You have to speak to them, get close to them, get a personal relationship with them. Today, businesses which are working are those who have collaboration. I am making several projects where every person is collaborating and they're just working all together. We're not working with a financial model. We're coming together to generate value. I know this is incredible, but I have 4 equal products. Something I could not raise my capital in a year. And today I'm looking for those who have the technology and they have all this visual, and he has LEDs and the other person has a hotel and I have the contents. And we came all together and we're making this new project together. Before, the most important thing, as I said, location. Today, you want to know the truth. It's just timing. Why? Because whoever hits first, they hit double. It's just it's like a sand clock. Every single sand grain, you can lose an opportunity. I was making this project regarding temperature. When I came somewhere together, oh, you're already late. Well, this started a month ago. How am I late? Well, yeah, someone already worked on this 2 years ago. So something that's very important when you start new things, this is it. It's a net. Your contact net, your analyst network. You have to learn that this is what makes you resistant. This net gives you the ability to generate businesses together with others. Don't look far away. Look among or within your network. Get inside your network. Get them all inside your network and let's collaborate together, because today people are collaborating more than others. There's moments when you feel caged. We all feel in a cage. So you have to open your mind. I can't open this cage, but yes, you can. Oh, this is how you open it. So this is so easy. You have to find how to open your cage, because if not, you're going to lose yourself mentally. There's something that's called frugal design. It's just making more with less. So this stove this is the easiest stove to generate heat, and it's made with cans because I needed to do a cheaper stove and I did it with can technology. So today, the best way to generate new businesses, that's the way it is. Like I said, as you know, this is a marimba. Today, remember, this is how you must work. Someone collaborates here and some other collaborates here. It's not the time to do everything by yourself. I know this is weird, but that's the way it is. There is this question. Yes, I have to. Lots of people will not be able to go forward. Many people in many companies, many people. We don't know what's going to happen with half of the companies already existent. So you must have an emergency exit. You need to know what's going on because companies now, remember this is a person, imagine this is a personal of a company. It can be. Maybe they'll just keep that kind of that amount of personnel. So you have to be careful what you're going through, because staying on the street and not having an exit is a very difficult situation. Something else I'd like to explain, because you're becoming a businessman now. These were the companies before, full of products. But this is what's going to happen now. You're going to have less products, and they're going to be small companies now. So finally, so you can understand companies, businesses which do not transform themselves, who do not change, who do not do what they have to do, they'll become like this. Not like the egg, just like a shell, which will be shapeless. Companies who do not learn to transform themselves, they will stay like something totally useless. Jaime, let's continue, and we're going to have the question area. So I hope you understood all these concepts, because these are general concepts for this new reality. Hold on, Carlos. Let's go to see a video from our sponsors. Please stay tuned.
La línea Guard también ofrece soluciones para quien presenta problemas en las encías. El ya conocido enjuague bucal Colgate PerioGuard con clorhexidina al 0.12% ayuda a controlar el nivel de bacterias presentes en boca. Debido a su amplio espectro bactericida, reduce hasta un 99% las bacterias bucales, reduce en un 48% el sangrado gingival y hasta en un 54% la placa bacteriana. No contiene alcohol, tiene un sabor agradable a menta, fácil de utilizar y con altísimos estándares de calidad y validación científica que lo distinguen de otras clorhexidinas. Al enjuague Colgate PerioGuard se le unen dos nuevos productos que complementan y ayudan al tratamiento de las personas con problemas de encías. La nueva crema dental especializada Colgate PerioGuard con una fórmula a base de zinc que garantiza una acción antibacteriana prolongada que ayuda a prevenir la inflamación de las encías, la formación de placa y sarro dental. Ayuda a prevenir el sangrado gingival hasta en un 66.7%. Puede ser utilizada de forma diaria y prolongada, ya que su principal ingrediente activo se encuentra de forma natural en el cuerpo humano. Y por último, el nuevo cepillo dental especializado Colgate PerioGuard, de cabeza compacta, mango ergonómico antideslizante y con exclusivas cerdas cónicas Perisoft ultra suaves con puntas de filamentos microfinos, garantizan la eliminación profunda y eficiente de la placa bacteriana sin dañar las encías. Gracias a su cabeza con anatomía diamantada y componente de caucho, evita traumatismos durante el cepillado. Colgate, siempre a la vanguardia del cuidado bucal, presentó Colgate Guard, la ciencia detrás de tu sonrisa.
So I was listening to you. The first thing that came to my mind was that song from Juan Manuel Serrat. I don't know if you know it, which says, "Niño, stop bothering me with your ball. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't touch that." I prepared 2 or 3 ideas, and let's go back together to have this chat together.
Un mano a
Sure.
mano de innovación.
Yes,
Ándale.
hand in hand, innovation and creativity and happiness.
Exacto.
Yes.
Bueno,
So
yo me hice las siguientes preguntas,
I have these following
Vamos a
questions,
innovar,
Carlos. Let's
vamos a
innovate.
cambiar.
Let's
¿Es lo
change.
mismo?
Is it the same?
Sigue, por favor.
Following.
Lo primero que pensé,
So
como dices tú,
first thing
despierta.
I thought,
El mundo ya
wake
cambió,
up.
hay una nueva
Well, the world is a
realidad.
new world. We have a new reality now. Following.
Así que bienvenidos a esta nueva
So
realidad.
welcome to this new
Ya no van a ser
reality.
como
Things
eran
won't be
antes.
like they were
Y la
before.
realidad cambia. Uno
And
decide
reality
si sí o si
changes.
no. Uno
You know,
puede
you decided
meterse debajo de las
you
cobijas,
continue. Now
o,
you may stay
sacar
under
la
the blanket
cabeza
and
y pensar que todo va a
just
volver,
don't
todo va a
stick your
ser
head
como
out of
antes.
them.
Y pues se va a
And
llevar un
thinking
gran
that things
chasco
will be
cuando
like
vuelva a
before,
salir.
when
Por lo
they
menos
come
por un
out, you'll
rato.
see a different reality.
Y digo,
At least for a
bueno,
while.
este año
I
que
mean,
sigue,
a
y quién sabe
while,
qué
this year,
efectos
next year, and
tengan estos
who
nuevos
knows the
términos
effects
sobre
of
las
all this
personas,
new
la
reality
seguridad, la
over people
confianza.
and
Así que
safety
no
and
sabemos realmente
trust.
los efectos
So we don't know the
de
real
esto,
effects of
cuánto va a durar.
this
Ahora hemos
and
hablado
how
de los
long they're going
efectos
to
del
last.
virus
We've
y de la
spoken about the
enfermedad
effects
que
of the
crea, hemos
virus and the
hablado de
disease.
la
We've
economía,
spoken about
de los
economy
efectos que crea, pero
and
también
its
hay una parte
effects.
emocional
But there's
personal
also
muy
an
fuerte,
emotional and
muy
personal
resistente a veces a
aspect
cambiar y a creer
who's
que
resistant
pues
to
simplemente yo
change
puedo
and
jugar
simply,
loto
yes,
y si madrugo, ¿no? Y me levanto temprano y junto a todo mi gabinete del consultorio a las 6 de la mañana, por eso las cosas van a ir muy bien. Y no es necesariamente así. La siguiente. Y es que todo lo que se puede hoy en día digitalizar bueno, pasa por 6 etapas de D o 6 Ds, que son digitalización, que sería la primera. Después viene un proceso en el que, si bien está creciendo exponencialmente, pues es 2, de 2 a 4, de 4 a 8, de 8 a 16, a 32, durante un periodo largo de tiempo, y la gente no se da cuenta que existe. El mejor ejemplo fue el Internet. El Internet se creó para comunicación entre universidades, entre laboratorios, etcétera, y estuvo ahí un buen rato hasta que alguien se dio cuenta que eso podría ser un elemento disruptivo en la vida social, cultural. Yo creo que el que realmente las gentes que lo echaron a andar nunca imaginaron todo lo que iba a cambiar a partir de esa. ¿Se acuerdan cuando se conectaban al teléfono y se oía un chillidito y
got online, and
las
it would
velocidades
take a
del
long
tráfico
time?
de
And
hoy, ¿no?
can you
Ya después
imagine
pasa por esa
nowadays
etapa
how things have
deceptiva donde
changed?
nadie se da
So they
cuenta
have a
que existe.
deceptive stage where
Viene la
nobody
disrupción,
notices
o
what
sea, viene,
it
entra al
happens,
mercado
exists, and then we
y
have
rompe con todo lo
disruption,
que hay.
something
Ejemplo,
that comes into market
el
and
COVID no
just
es que estuviera
breaks
escondido,
everything,
los
like
virus
COVID.
existen,
Well,
pero
yeah, COVID was
estuvo
there,
varios
but
meses que sí,
it
que
was
no, que sí
wandering around
existía,
during
que se
for
podía
some
jugar,
months,
que
and
no, que se podía
nobody
lavar
thought
con
if
las
we could
manos y se
take care of it or
etiquetaba.
not. If
Y en eso,
you had to
boom,
wash your hands, and
vienen
then
los primeros
boom,
casos,
we had
vienen
the
los
first
primeros,
cases and the
desafortunadamente
first
los primeros muertos, y viene la
deaths, and
disrupción
we had
completa. Es
the
la
complete
primera vez
disruption.
en
This
la
is the
historia de la
first time in
humanidad que un
humankind
planeta se
history where
detiene
a planet
para
just
poder
halts to
tratar de defenderse de
try to
algo que
defend
todavía hoy en
itself
día
from
tristemente
something
mucha
that
gente
now,
piensa que es
sadly, people
solamente
still
un
think is
engaño,
just a
una cosa
hoax
creada
or
para
something that has
controlar
been created
los
to
gobiernos
control
emergentes.
governments, emerging
Después
governments.
se desmaterializa,
Then we have
o
the
sea, es como si se disolviera en aire.
materialization,
Después
something
se
that's just like
demonetiza,
something
o sea,
that's
ya no
floating on the
vale,
air, then
y es
it's
entonces cuando
worthless,
se
and
democratiza.
then we have the
La que sigue, y ahí
democratization
tenemos un
of that
ejemplo.
product. We have an example of it.
¿Ustedes se acuerdan cuando
Do
tenían
you
en su
remember
casa
when you had in your
una
house
brújula, una
a
cámara de
compass, a
video,
video camera,
un aparato para oír primero? Pues eran
stereo,
antes
so where you
los
can have the
tracks,
LP and
luego
the
fueron los
8-track and then the
cassettes, luego
cassette
fueron
player,
los
and then you had
discos,
the CD player
el
and
teléfono, cómo se
the
marcaba,
telephone.
después
We had to
un
dial your
GPS, una
telephone, a
máquina de escribir,
GPS, a
una cámara
typewriting machine,
fotográfica, una
a
linterna, un
camera, a
periódico,
lamp,
un escáner. Todo eso ocupaba
a
muchísimo,
scanner.
muchísimo
They
espacio, no solamente
they
las
all
cosas, sino
were
pues toda
around our
la colección de
house, and they
música. Es
would keep a
prácticamente,
great
yo
space of
podría
our
cubrir una pared
lives,
de
and I
mi
could
casa con todo
cover
lo que
a
tengo de
wall of
música.
my house with
Otro
all
con todo lo que
my
tengo de
records,
libros,
music records, and my
por
books.
cierto, sí leídos. Y
Yes,
otro donde
I
todos
read my
esos
books.
juguetes de la
And when you
antigüedad.
have
Y
all
sin
these old
embargo, cuando viene la
toys, but
disrupción,
when
la
we have
siguiente, por favor,
disruption,
todo esto
following all
cabe
this
en un aparatito de
just
estos,
fits in
en un
one of
celular.
these little
Yo voy a comprar el
devices.
teléfono,
The cell
el
phone.
teléfono
I
que
go
trae
buy a cell
incluido
phone,
la
and
grabadora,
The record is already, the record player is in there. It's included the music, the newspaper, my books, a compass, a lamp if I need to find the keys, a camera, which many times is better than the ones I can buy on the market, a word processor, I can write mails, somewhere where I can send to my phone my electrocardiogram, games, you name it, something that not even Steve Jobs imagined. The great utility with this machine. Yes, he died before many technologies were available, but it's incredible how many, all these fits in one phone. Well, you know, nothing exists. It's all in this phone. I don't have to carry everything like in New York subway when they have the big radio. Everything fits in a pocket. They have their headphones and they listen to their music. Or you have a speaker where you can listen to boom, boom, boom. So everything just disappeared. And not only that, they all became free because when I bought my phone, it was all included in my phone. So when this happens, following, that's when we have a democratization. And someone in China and some children around the corner and some people in New York and someone in Africa and someone in Colonia Roma have access to this. And you say, no, that's not true. This is just for rich people, for people who can afford it. No, that's not true. Cell phones, it's estimated that by the end of this year, with or without pandemic, 55% of the world population will have a smartphone by the end of 2020. And if you don't think about COVID, maybe by half 2020. So that means that 3 billion people will have a smartphone in their hands, and you're not far. You don't have to get into an airplane and have a visa, go there and there. You can all do it from your home. What I don't suggest is to have Zooms and boxers, because if we have an earthquake, you have to run away and everyone will see you. So something else. What's innovation? Innovation comes from Latin, which means to create something new, and it's created by the prefix in, which just means to be in, and the concept novus, which means new. But the word change gives us the idea of the transition from one state to another, from liquid to solid, from solid to liquid, from a state of the country to another, that I move to another country, that I change my attitude and my behavior, that I have a different, or change my profession. Something is to innovate and something else is to change. And the process that I found is way simple, way too simple. It's like having a spiral where things are moving, 3 things or 3 elements are moving continually. This is how they spin. This small spin. And I have a problem, and I cannot solve it, and I cannot make anyone else solve it. So I have, I improvise. I just cut it here. I fold it here. I do some masking tape. I just twist it. I screw it. I hammer it. I change the material, and somehow I find something that now solves a specific problem for me. And therefore, that's where innovation arises. But innovation, after a while, people see it and they start copying it. So they start imitating. So this something becomes normal, and that's something that starts itching our creativity or our curiosity. For example. So you're facing a problem where you don't have a solution, a known or trust or reliable solution like I have had in the past. So when innovation has demonstrated to be much more efficient, you imitate it to make it to become something new. I have the best pen. I thought about it and I created it. So you promote it as the best practice for a while, then it will lose its shining, and it will become a simple status quo. So this is the new innovation, and tomorrow this is going to be a normal object. So therefore, the great innovation, yesterday's innovation, becomes traditional wisdom, and with new circumstances or technologies, we start suspecting that it's much more tradition than wisdom. So that's where it becomes a box where we want to escape from, and we feel trapped in. And to escape this box, we start innovating. And this, if innovation did not exist, we would still be living in caves. So you have to think outside the box. And it could be easy, but the difficult thing is to live outside the box. Thinking outside the box is challenging the paradigms. What people think about me. Oh, what will they think about me if I start doing something different to what I'm used to? Because my current work is not, giving fruit. So you have to get out of that box, but you have to dare to live outside the box. So innovation seems to come from a person. Well, there's this guy in this dark desk with the light that's moving, drinking and sipping a weird drink, and that's where he found something new. Well, this has changed too. Things are not like before. So it's an individual creative act. Is appearing less, and what we're having the most currently is a collective creative act. Because it's the addition, like Carlos said, it's the addition of the experiences, it's the value that I will bring to my table. It's just how I'm going to have added value. So who has thought about the blue and the red ocean? The red ocean is full of cannibals, and sharks eat each other. When you have that added value, you move from a blue ocean, and that's where you don't have to fight with the rest because you've created value. For example, mountain bikes. I didn't know that mountain bikes, 35 years ago, people did not like this kind of bikes as mountain bikes because it had really thin wheels, and it has a maneuver, and these bikes were designed to go fast and to run fast. And I use mine. I have one of those. That's not mine, but I use it when I studied in the States to go outside the lake. But yes, the wheels were not the proper ones. And then, when I was a child, I had one of these, which were called bananas, which was black, and it has this high maneuvers, and that seat where two people could sit. And these were so cool, but people who were doing mountain biking did not like it. So what did they do? They invented mountain bikes. Some friends who said, "Oh, let's take the framework of the career of the racing bikes with light materials, with bigger wheels, with motorcycle brakes, and therefore this is how from the user's experience, this is how it was born." Companies took 15 years to find this market. And nowadays, 55% of the bikes sold in the US are this kind of bike. And this is a business that generates $58 billion annually. And the bike companies did not make the change. The users made this change. And changes currently are faster. They become alive from the experience of users, and the apps see the mistakes, and they see how the users speak about improvements and how the time helps, and we have a new experience. So this is where we can differentiate ourselves from others. who wants to risk and take risks? It's just 2% of the people have this mindset, embracing the unknown and embracing change and living without limits in abundance. They act even if they're full of fear, and they found happiness in what they're doing, and they explore new horizons and new ways of doing things, and they trust in themselves. And the other 98% of the population who stayed in their comfort zone, and there's no comfort in that zone because they have boring lives, and they don't like to. They like to play it safe. They don't jump if they don't see a net that can protect them. And unfortunately, they're going to stay stuck in there. And with this show, I would like to invite you to think different, to open your mind, to open your head, and imagine, and imagine what you can come up with. And we all have a hobby. We like to read different things, and this collective activity that can take us to new horizons. And from bad decisions, that's where experience arises, and from experience we have better decisions. Following. Following, please. So remember, it's just a process. An innovation process renews itself constantly, and this is the process of change. So you're here with me, Carlos. I'm glad. So let's watch this short video, and after this, we'll continue with some questions.
Protege a tu clínica y a tus pacientes. Conoce la fórmula de O Radical de amplio espectro como desinfectante orgánico de superoxidación que elimina bacterias, virus y hongos desinfectando superficies. Desinfecta tu consultorio, equipo, sillones, instrumental quirúrgico, rotatorios y cucharillas. Además, no mancha y no guarda olor. Protégete y protégeme. O Radical, el mejor amigo en tu consultorio.
No me pongas ningún video, ahorita no me pongas videos. Gracias.
Thank you.
Bueno, pues ahora sí.
So,
qué buena presentación, ¿eh? Muy buena presentación.
Great presentation. I learned new things, and I've been doing this for a long time. I didn't know about the story about the bikes, and I ride a bike. So literature is just full of these examples that invite you to create disruptive situations. There are users of things that they don't exist nowadays. Companies will disappear, and those that will be in the top 400, they're in a garage somewhere just creating ideas. Yes, what it said is that in the following product that everyone's going to be using, it's still not the Zen. We still don't know who's going to create it. Maybe it's going to be a chip inside your head like Elon Musk is doing, but we still don't know what's going to be at that level. Technology is just flying, and whatever we've seen with artificial intelligence, we still don't know. I am a fan of artificial intelligence, and yes, if there's something that you have to be afraid of, it's not COVID-19, it's not earthquake, it's what's artificial intelligence is going to be what's going to do with humanity, because it's going to improve us, but it's going to go so fast that 98% of that you spoke about, it's going to see it not as a Formula One race car, but as a tractor. And they're going to ask themselves what's happening with them. So what could you tell our audience? I really hooked myself that curiosity leads you to creativity, and it's just a continuum. So, how do you invite us to don't mind what people think or mind others' opinions? We all have similar features. We all have a brain, two hemispheres. Yes, you know something. The other day they were asking me, "What is why are creative people successful?" And I got that to the conclusion that you only have to believe in yourself. It has nothing to do with creative things or with your brain. It's just I'm going to tell you a story. So, uh, many years ago, I was in an exposition in Orlando, and I found this man in an exhibition for beach articles that were sold in beaches, surfing articles. And I found this man using funny colored shoes. And he tells me, oh, they're called Crocs. And it's the most comfortable shoe in the world. How is that comfortable? It's horrible. That's not a shoe. Oh, I like you. He told me, I'm going to send you a pair of these to your home and use them. And let's sell them in Mexico. If you sell them in Mexico, I'll give you the Mexican distribution. And if you like it, in Latin America, you'll have the distribution. For 6 months, I used them daily. I went to all the shoemakers in Mexico and told them, let's import them. This is a strong trend. And they all said, Carlos, you're a designer. You don't know anything about shoes. How do you think that this thing is going to work here? It's the only shoe that it's a generic, because you can carry Crocs or not. It's like wearing flip-flops. It's the so I could have been the Croc distributor in Mexico. I would be multi-millionaire here. 2 million Crocs are consumed at the month. But I did not believe in me. I did feel that I had a valuable concept. Many times you don't believe in yourself. When I created this stove, can you see it? When I invented it, that was because I was doing some holes in the can, and I noticed that I had this, blue flames coming out of them. I Googled it and I did not understand why this was happening. And I spent 2 hours researching. And from that's where I have a company. I have international prizes for this. And everything happened because when I found something, I believed it. Not many people maybe had made holes in a can, closed cans, and they had some alcohol in it, but nobody just noticed. And if they noticed, they didn't use it. So when you find something, you have to believe in yourself and say, oh, this is going to work. Well, also, you were trying to change the world at the same time. Would you like to tell about the other side of the story of the stove? Yes, I had a company that was called Pyramid Joe. I had stores in more than 15 countries. And I used to say, well, I sell T-shirts. How much can I do in my life? So I sold my share to my associates, and I wanted to do something that had an impact. So social entrepreneurs are those who, at the same time, make business, and at the same time, we make something that's good for humanity. And there's many people like us, and currently this is becoming common. In 2011, this wasn't a very normal thing, but nowadays, every project I've been working on, I know I'm going to generate a positive impact. This stove, half of the planet is still cooking in wood and coal. So we are developing this to stop making people cooking with coal, and people are still cooking with coal. 4 million people still cook, still get their house burned because they're cooked with coal. And this is a disaster. But we're making an effort, and we're trying to change through development and innovation. Because you mentioned many definitions of creativity, and I like creativity is something that comes within yourself. It's an internal process, and innovation is what you generate outside when you have a result just remember this forever. Creativity and innovation is when you achieve something. So, what could be better than making a change but helping
¿Por qué
others?
tienes que hacerlo
Yes.
para
Why do
vender
you have to
eso?
do
¿Quién vendes? O sea,
something that
si
pick your
puedes
teeth?
hacerlo
If you can
sin
do
que los dientes. Es
something
que,
that cleans your
por
teeth.
ejemplo, yo nunca
For
entendí por qué
example,
siguen
I never
existiendo los
understood
chicles que
why
tienen
a
azúcar y te
chewing
pican los
gum with
dientes. O sea,
sugar
¿por
chewing
qué no
gum
los
still
prohíben? ¿Por
exists.
qué prohíben
Why aren't they prohibited?
o no? ¿Por qué prohíben
Why?
los cigarros y no eso? O
Why?
sea,
Well,
Porque les
why
dicen el
cigarettes are
azúcar es mucho
prohibited but
más
not
fuerte que los
chewing
demás.
gums? Because sugar is
Oye,
stronger
el
than
azúcar es el
tobacco. Well,
generador
sugar
de
generates
diabetes,
diabetes,
hipertensión. No hablo de
hypertension. I'm not
conspiraciones,
speaking about
pero
conspiracies, but
hay un gusto,
but
fíjate,
there's a taste for it.
hay
There are
aldeas en ciudades
villages
pequeñas
in the
que los
Caribbean
niños no tienen
where
caries.
children
Y
live
cuando
without
empieza a haber
caries
un
or
poquito de
cavities, but
bienestar,
when
porque
they have
siempre ponen el hotel
a
y
bit
pues
of
la gente trabaja
well-being, where
ahí,
there's a new
y
hotel and people
entonces
start
les
working there,
quieren dar a sus
and
hijos lo
therefore
que no les dieron
they
durante
give
muchos
children what they
años,
did not
les
receive when
compran
they
lo
were
que les
children.
encanta.
They start buying
20
junk
años
food to
después
them,
regresas
and 20 years
y
later
tus
you
hijos
come
no tienen
back and these
caries
children
y
who
están
had no
llenos de
cavities
caries.
are full of
Pero
cavities,
porque
and
su
that's
familia
because
sí fue un
their
poquito,
family were
digo, ¿estás de
trying
acuerdo,
to
no?
become
Oye, pero
better.
me gustaría
So,
creer en ti, porque a veces sí,
but
pero
you
no,
have to
no, no
believe
nos
yourself. And
creemos.
yeah, sometimes we don't believe in
sí, o
ourselves.
sea, simplemente dices,
Yes,
no,
just
esto sería una
you have to say
maravilla,
this would
en
be
este caso, pues
wonderful.
que
But
yo voy a
yes,
encontrar la mejor
how?
solución para
Why in the
cocinar
world I would
en el mundo.
find a
O
new
sea,
solution to
eso solo
cook in
me
the world?
gusta a
My
cocinar cuando pones frijoles con unas
wife,
latas entre
when
mi
she
cocina,
saw me
así
cooking
como
with
las
my
estufas,
stove,
¿no? Como los productos de tecnología salen de los garages. Pues una estufa
well,
sale
I
de la
have this
cocina,
stove
¿no?
that came
Entonces
from my
nada,
garage.
iban
So I would
moviendo
cook
y
with my
haciendo
stove and I
diferentes
started,
cosas. Entonces sí
improving
veía
and,
con cuál la temperatura y todo, hasta que
modifying my
logré
stove
llegar a lo
until I
máximo que
achieved
podía
to the
durar 2
highest
horas con una
thing.
menor
This
cantidad, pero
stove
con la
could
mejor
work for 2 hours
eficiencia. Y así
with
es
a great
como funciona,
efficiency.
¿no?
And
Yo
that's
estoy
how things
haciendo un
work.
proyecto que
I'm
es
working on
un
a
jugo
project.
que metes y
It's a cube where
sientes
you can
y te
get in
cambia
there
la
and
sensación
it
y
makes your
te
sensations
cambia la
change. And we
sensación de la
need
mente.
to change the
Hoy
sensation of
el
people.
entretenimiento no es una
Entertainment
diversión,
currently,
es una
it's not just
necesidad.
fun,
Estamos
it's a
haciendo
need. We are
microexperiencias
having
para que
micro
la gente viva algo
experiences to make
diferente
people live
sin
something different without
separarse de su gente de lejos.
getting
Todos los
away
niveles
from their eight,
familiares,
10
amigos,
relatives
llámalo
or
como lo
friends,
quieras,
call it as you, whatever
uno
you want,
chiquito
with
que
their
sí se ven
small
y
group
se
of
les da
people
algo, vivir
and
algo.
feel something
Parecería como
and
que el
live something.
entretenimiento ahorita
And
es
entertainment
irse de
currently, it's
fiesta.
just, oh
El
yeah, have fun.
entretenimiento ahorita es
Entertainment now, it's psychological. It's
pensar
something you need to think,
tienes que tener algo para subirte a la
something that
cabeza. No, no,
goes
no.
beyond
Experiencia, ¿no?
just the
Vivir la
experience.
experiencia, no tener
Vivir.
experiencia.
Live the experience, not have the
Vivir
experience.
cosas. O
Yes,
sea, llevamos 3
live
meses sin
things. We've
vivir,
been
4 meses
3 months
sin vivir
without
cosas
living
diferentes.
things, different things.
Con mi familia nos
With my
fuimos
family,
4 días a un
we
campamento en el
escaped for
bosque
days to
para
a
sentir que
camp
estábamos en otro
in the
lugar.
woods
Nos
just to feel different things.
empezaron a
We went to
limpiar mi
a house that we have there.
me
We
decían mis
lived
amigos,
there
¿por qué
for
lo
four
estás
days,
haciendo?
and
Digo,
my
porque
friends would ask
estoy
me,
aquí
why are you
2
doing this?
voy
Because
como
I've
si
been
al
two
3 o 2 semanas
2 weeks in my house and I go to this other experience just to feel that we're living something different. Every day has been the same. I don't know who in their mind thought that you have to have a routine now that you're in your house. This is just an idiot. If everything's alike, you don't need a routine, because if not, 4 months, in 4 months, you have to start killing yourself. One day I wake up at 8:30, one day I wake up at 10, and one other I eat, and the other day I go and bike. Because if not, if everything's alike and the same, you'll become crazy. Do you remember that movie where every day was the same? Yes, I remember it. That's pretty much it. That's what the first days were. I mean, the first days you were afraid of staying home. I'm not going to work. How am I going to go out there? And everything is just different. Everyone wants to stay home. And also because you're having family experiences and personal experiences, you're having time to do things you didn't do before. In the US, during the first time, they did not have toilet paper. Now they don't have a flour because people started baking. But also, there were terrible
Cerro
things. There
Chiapas,
has been a lots of family violence. I have a daughter in university. She's studying businesses and artificial intelligence, and she's developing
Un chatbot es cuando tú escribes
uh,
en WhatsApp
something that's
para
developing
que te
something
escriba
in
eso.
WhatsApp, and where you believe that someone, but someone's answering fastly. Yes,
Un
so
robot que
it's just a
te
robot
está haciendo
that's
un chatbot
answering, and
para que la
she's
gente que
making this
tiene
chat box for
violencia
people
familiar y no
who's
puede hablar
living domestic
puede
violence
escribirle
and
a las
cannot
personas
call
al
someone.
chatbot
They
y
can
eso ellos
write to
no le
this
hagan
chat
qué hacer
box
y te digan, no,
and
pues aquí
just
la
get some
solución
help
es esto.
or
Ya no hay
get some
concurso
guidance from
internacional que
someone.
responde algo porque está subiendo
And
eso.
and this is
Todo
arising.
sale porque en una plática
So
con mi hija
everything
de
comes out
leí
because
unas cosas
talking to my daughter, she
entonces
was
le
telling me, I
preguntaba,
read
¿tú crees
about
que puedo hacer un
horrible
chatbot?
things.
Y
Do you
yo,
think I know how to program? Do
¿cómo
you
vas
think
a
I can
hacer un
make a chatbot?
chatbot para resolver
How
uno
are
de
you
los
going to make a
problemas
chatbot to
de la
solve
humanidad?
one of the biggest
2 meses
problems of
después,
humankind?
tiene un
2 months
chatbot
later, she has this
financiado por
chatbots financed
fundaciones
by
y todo
foundations
para desarrollar.
to develop
Hay que
this
creer
chatbots. You have to
que uno puede
believe
resolver los
that you can
problemas más grandes del
solve the
mundo, porque
biggest
buscar problemas
problems in
chiquitos
humankind, because solving
parece
small
realmente
problems,
chiquito.
yes, that's
Necesitamos gente
why
grande que
small
piense en
people
los
are
problemas
for.
grandes.
You have
Toda la
to
vida me he
think big
dedicado
to become a big person.
a
I've
resolver
always
problemas.
worked on solving problems.
Hoy tengo tantos
Currently, I have
proyectos
so many new
porque
projects
levantas una piedra en
because
México y salen
you get
25
this
problemas,
stone
seamos
in
sinceros.
Mexico and you
O sea, con el
see
COVID salieron
25
a
different
relucir
problems.
tantos,
With
tantos
COVID
problemas
19, we
que
saw
hay
many
una
problems
oportunidad de
arising,
innovar
and
y
there's
no
an
nunca voy a
opportunity
mentir.
to innovate.
Estoy ayudando
So
a
I'm
las
helping
pymes con toda la inteligencia
PYMEs
artificial
with
y
all
todo
this
para venderlas.
artificial
¿Por qué?
intelligence
Porque
to
la
sell
mitad de las
more,
pymes no tienen
because half
acceso
of
a
these
internet.
PYMEs do
¿Cómo
not
van a
have access to
sobrevivir
internet.
si
How
no
will they
pueden
survive
ni
if
siquiera
they
vender en
cannot
línea? O
even sell
sea,
online?
tienen que aprender todo
They
otra
have
vez
to
a
learn
colaborar
everything from
con las
scratch. They want to
asociaciones.
go to
¿Por
corporate
qué?
medics and
Porque alguien les
associations
tiene que
because someone
decir,
has to
así
tell
se
them
hace.
things,
O sea,
how
no
things
tenemos que
are
sacar
done.
todo a pedazos, tenemos que
Mexico
innovar,
is
innovar,
just breaking
innovar y
into pieces.
resolver
We have to
un caso
innovate
y
and solve
soluciones a los
and look
problemas.
for solutions to our issues.
Oye, los dentistas también.
Because dentists too.
Mira, está muy interesante la plática.
It's
Vamos a
interesting.
nada más
Let's
un video que
have this
para
short
recordarles a todas
video
las
to
personas que nos han
remind
visto por
you,
primera vez o que no pudieron ver
for people who
episodios
haven't
anteriores,
seen our
que
previous
simplemente
episodes. That
pasan el video, por favor.
please, can we have the video?
Todas nuestras charlas son
All
abiertas,
our
que nadie
shows
se las
are
vaya a
open
dar.
to public. It
No
shouldn't be
inician
sold
con
online. I hope not going to Central Mexico and see people selling
son
our
totalmente
shows.
gratis con todas las
These are
personas
totally free
que nos han
shows
visitado
with
durante todos
our
estos
guests
pues ya
who
meses.
have been with us in these last
Y decirles
months,
que están a
and to
disposición
tell
de
you
ustedes.
that
Tienen que
they're
entrar
available
a
to
YouTube de
everyone.
IDE
You go to
Academia.
IDE
Van a
Academia
estar
YouTube website,
algunas, la primera
and
etapa en
the
español, por
first
una
stage
vez
in
que empezamos
Spanish.
con
But
el Genie in
once
the
when we
Bottle,
start with the genie in the bottle,
separamos los
we
canales
separated the
y todas
channels,
nuestras pláticas
and
están
all
en
our
Facebook
shows are in
Live de
Facebook
IDE Academia,
from IDE
o en mi
Academia's
personal mío,
site
las
too,
pueden
and
ver
in my personal
en
website
español
too. You can see them
y
and watch them in
en
Spanish,
YouTube en inglés
and in
cuando
YouTube
salieron
in
por idioma
English when they
original.
came
Y
in
si no,
original
con
language.
nuestra
Or if
super
not, with
traductora
our
Samantha, te mando un saludo si
translator,
aquí ahorita
Samantha,
van a conocer a Samantha cuando
you're going
lleguemos
to
a
meet her
Sí.
later.
Si todavía no lo pasas, por favor. Es que aquí en el
Yeah,
chiquito
done
no
that
se
now.
ve.
Yes. Oh, I'm getting all the
Pero ahorita
information from our
tocaste un punto
producers.
importante y
But I
aquí
think you
una
touched an
reflexión.
important
Más que preguntas,
topic.
son reflexiones.
More than questions, we
Dice,
were
creo que
having
la
just
actitud
thoughts.
es la
I
mejor
think the
herramienta para
attitude and
afrontar los
behavior is
cambios
the
de la
best
hora,
tool to
indispensables para influir en
face
la
our
modernidad que
current
se requiere
changes
en esta
and to
época
have an
de alto
influence in
rendimiento.
our
¿Ustedes qué piensan?
modernity. What do you think? When I started speaking, because I'm also interviewing experts too, I interviewed a cousin of mine who's a psychologist, and she told me when someone loses a loved when they go through a process which is accepting and depression and start creating after that. The problem is what I said at the beginning: people who do not have resilience. Remember my band, my elastic band. What happened with them? They just stayed sitting down, frozen. I have a friend who has stores and shops, many shops, and he says, I don't want malls to be open. Yes, yes, because if we open the shopping centers, I'm not paying a big rent, and people and I pay less to my people, to my employees. Well, the thing is that, shopping centers get open. I'm happy. He says, I'm happy in my home. It's just the attitude. Behavior is everything. People who just got inside a cocoon and they say, I want this I don't want this to be over. And they have the resources to continue living in their cocoon without the need of going out there to work. But the attitude is everything. And there's people who go out to work 24/7 and like crazy. When we never thought about presenting a show like this together. We never thought about it. I've done many more interviews in these last 3 months than in my whole life. I've lectured a lot. And I started 17 different projects. And I had failed on some, and then we have new projects, and now I'm having 4. Maybe one of them will fail, but if by the end of this I have a big project or 2, this is going to be worth it. You know how my life was in the first day, just the attitude, just to invent, to create. Whatever comes out of it, whatever can happen. Well, I just lost my time. And no, you haven't. What is the name of the movie that you mentioned about the routine? I don't remember the name of it. It was about we don't remember, with this guy that made Lost in Translation. What about the 60s? The first one is something that's been digitalized, and we have a deceptive stage where nothing grows. Then the disruption, when everything gets into the market. Then we have that dematerialization, when things that were used in the past fit in a cell phone. And then we have something that has it's costless. And then we have a democratization where a great deal of the population can use it. These are the 6 stages. Do you know where this comes from? This is a theory of Peter Diamandis, who created Singularity University. I'm a friend of his. I'm his associate. And everything that starts costing less comes from the dematerialization things. And few things can become through artificial intelligence. And many things will go through these stages. Many works will disappear. Many jobs will disappear because humans will not be material in the future. This is so incredible and so difficult to believe. Dr. Manzanares, The Day of the Marmot. Yes, that's the name of the movie. I'm a teacher. I've been a teacher for 50 years in my comfort zone. Well, it depends where you are, what you're doing. I'm a designer. I've been a designer for 35 years, and I've gone through many different things. But Steve Jobs created computers all his life, and well, it's up to you. Well, if you're teaching the same subject every year, repeating the same things totally, I don't know you, and that's not good. But my daughter, who took an innovation class in university online, and she has me living with her, she would make fun of the teacher and say, oh, well, these are not so weird things. Well, yes, but you're inside this class. It's normal. You're living in a house where you're living in a chat box where we lived and spoke about this 3 years ago. People don't know about it. So in every house, they speak about different things. Professor, I think that this time has been useful to learn new elements, and not knowing how to use them, new doors can be opened and new possibilities appear. Yes, but if you believe that knowing how to use Zoom will give you a new ability, that's not true, because everyone learned how to use Zoom. That's why I'm speaking about curiosity. Everyone has to learn about things that they normally don't learn. What do I mean? Every morning, there's people who wake up very early and they start doing yoga. My routine is every morning. What the first thing I do is watch a video or reading or analyzing something about something I don't know, because creating is to link things together, and to create you need to have many things in your head. So if you want to have many things to link others, you have to know about many things. The curiosity is the base. So you have to learn about everything. If you like baseball, learn about basketball, even if you don't like it. But someday that will give you the tools to create something. So that's why there's people that say, why every time are you watching videos, series, you read about things that you're not interested in? No. Well, I never know. I never know if this is going to bring me a new solution. So learning about something that everyone knows because everyone was locked in, makes you part of the common denominator. You have to learn whatever, anything that nobody else knows. For me, I think that TikTok is such a great thing to release stress. Yes, you laugh and you become part of the mainstream. Yes, and yeah, you're also speaking. Oh, you don't love me. You don't love me. You start speaking about the TikTokers, like the TikTokers. Well, TikToks is being used for important educational things. Things that have to be thrown to the population. For example, this is the COVID-19 network. It has, yes, it was meant for children, and now it's a grandparents thing. That's funny. Yes. Well, you're not doing anything. You see one of those. Well, why not? Why not trying it? And then you share it, because TikTok is for people who are stuck in the closet. They make their videos, they laugh, but they don't dare to break that wall. And now, oh my God, I'm a doctor and I can't upload this kind of things. Can you imagine my clients, my important clients see me doing this? A few weeks ago, I was saying that you have to learn to laugh about yourself. That's just the beginning, not to break yourself. Resiliency that you talk about is just, laughing and humor makes you resilient, and whatever brings you forward is just the intelligence of doing things. But yes, it's just making your best. No, you have to prepare yourself. What you say about the being in good humor, and one of the projects that I'm carrying is a university, Sander, and someone's going to say, who wants to make a stand-up university? Well, it's because, do you know how many people will be unemployed? Millions of people. Do you know how many people adore stand-up comedy individuals, singers and rock stars and famous actors or sports people? From all of them, there's somewhere where you can study and become professional, but to become a stand-up comedy actor, well, we developed a system with the best. So someone in a village can learn to become a stand-up comedy individual, and they go to the village and just start telling jokes. He wins some money and changes his life. That's what I mean. Making all these projects that have an impact on people and becoming creative. Well, yes, I understand, but I thought about what you said, the red and blue ocean, the typical example about the Cirque du Soleil, for example. And I'd like to use it as an example that nothing's forever. They come to create disruption in the circus world, where they have the vedette and the magician and the clown was a vedette, and the clown would say there was no show, and the animals, and they had to travel from one country to another, and they could sometimes they had 3 months where they could not work until they had the circus, and they had the elephants, and so Cirque du Soleil was a circus offer that starts growing because first they did not use animals. It's going to be the same for the Congress. We should get them for a Congress. for our.
Bueno, el que me conoce,
Well, who knows me? Yes. Why do you invite me here? You know, even know how I am. Then
o sea, hicieron una escuela de payasos.
they have a clown school, and they have an acrobatic school, and they have a magician school, and they started having. They could be in 5 cities at the same time, and they had to experience the music, the lights, the fear, you know, everything. And now they're broke because suddenly everything. There's nowhere to perform, and they have lots of people and employees, and they're under the same conditions of many companies that have this great growth, and nobody could compete with them. And then just this invisible virus comes up and disrupts, or I don't know how it is a bad translated word because it comes from English, and you cannot play this verb in Spanish. And this virus comes, and there's a great business who was an example in books today is such a big unemployment problem. And they'll be back, I'm sure, but nothing's forever. If today, if we have to relaunch ourselves and adapt ourselves, finally, it's adaptation. Adaptation is a human characteristic, and whoever does not adapt whatever they do won't be enough. So one of these 500 biggest businesses in the world was 75 years old. Today, it's just, it's going around 10 years. Only technologies are surviving. It's just something, it's a crazy thing. Apple, Microsoft, or Amazon, their value is $1.2 trillion yesterday. Today, it's worth more. $1.2 trillion. That's more than our GDP. It's more than the GDP of a country with 130 million people, with oil, with terrorists. A company that does not create anything, practically anything, Microsoft, just technology, or it's worth more than the 14th largest economy of the world. So that's when you start learning that things have changed. Technology is the thing of the day. And they also connect. But they connect with technology. They used to connect with something different now, but today they connect with technology. Tesla is the most valuable brand in the world. 2 years ago, they thought it would be broke, but today is the most valuable brand. With the support of let's watch this short video before having our last comments. Friends from production, are you awake? Production, are you awake?
Así es.
OrthoGuard es una línea completa especializada para quienes usan aparatos de ortodoncia. Cuenta con 3 productos de uso diario que ayudan a prevenir las lesiones de mancha blanca en los dientes. El enjuague bucal especializado Colgate OrthoGuard, con una fórmula revolucionaria en el segmento de los enjuagues bucales, le proporciona a los consumidores una efectividad terapéutica en el tratamiento ortodóntico y en pacientes de alto riesgo de caries. Llegamos a los espacios irregulares generados por la adhesión de la resina y el bracket, previniendo la desmineralización del esmalte hasta un 58%, libre de alcohol, sabor agradable y de uso diario en personas de 6 años en adelante. El nuevo gel dental especializado Colgate OrthoGuard, con 5,000 partes por millón de fluoruro de sodio, ideal para personas en tratamiento de ortodoncia y o con alto riesgo de caries. Revierte 3 veces más las lesiones de caries inicial y proporciona hasta 40% mayor reducción de caries contra una crema dental regular con fluoruro. Es seguro y se recomienda usarlo diariamente, una vez al día durante el tratamiento ortodóntico, indicado para personas de 6 años en adelante. Durante el tratamiento de ortodoncia, los cuidados de salud bucal exigen mayor atención. Los brackets y alambres ortodónticos pueden impedir una buena higiene bucal. Por eso Colgate ha creado el cepillo dental especializado Colgate OrthoGuard, con cerdas multinivel, indicado para quienes usan aparatos ortodónticos. Gracias a su forma en U, cubre toda la superficie del bracket, mejorando el efecto de limpieza en la encía, dientes, alambres y brackets. Las cerdas externas en forma de espiral eliminan la placa dental en la línea de la encía, proporcionando así una mejor sensación de limpieza en los tejidos bucales. Y a su vez, las cerdas internas auxilian en la limpieza alrededor de los brackets y alambres ortodónticos. Sus puntas de 0.01 milímetros pueden limpiar pequeños espacios, proporcionando una mejor limpieza de la superficie de los brackets y alambre. Colgate, siempre a la vanguardia del cuidado bucal, presentó Colgate Guard, la ciencia detrás de tu sonrisa.
So I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors who keep us on air, which is like Internacional, Amic Dental, Asociación Mexicana de Industria de Comercio Dental, Colgate, Palmolive Mexico, and Grupo Ideas Dentales. Also, I'd like to acknowledge Blanca, Miriam, and Eddie, who are in production at the Mexico City. And this is a simple question. It looks like a simple, but it's a hard question. How can we start carrying out innovation? Just, this is a white sheet, a blank sheet, but it's a blank sheet. Any artist, anyone, when they start painting, it takes a whole deal of work to start working. If you sit one day and you say, I'm going to start innovating, no, it's not going to work. That's not going to work. That's not how it works. So what you have to do is to start looking where there's a problem. Where can you solve anything? Anything like the network that can help you, the solutions that already exist, looking for, this is a hanger. Just a dry cleaning. Well, how many people are sending their clothes to the dry cleaners? I guess nobody. But they have lots of distributors, people with their bikes who can carry things. Many of them became distributors of stuff. They are part of Rappi and other platforms. You have to see what your abilities are. What do you have? What can you do that many other people don't? What can you propose? Let's say that you are this person. You have this face, which is a dentist. Then you turn around and you have the person's face. You have to look for the third face, which is innovation. This, it's the same person. Did you notice it was the same face? I have the same face. Just because when I'm innovating, I think like an innovator. When I think about a dad, I think like a dad. But don't think that I would start fires on them to see if they burned. What I want to understand is that you have to understand which are your abilities. What do you have in your hands? And instead of getting a blank sheet and start thinking, I'm going to start something, you have to start solving problems. And innovation arises during that process. You don't know how many parents come to me and tell me, oh, my son wants to be an innovator. My son wants to be entrepreneur. Can you help him? And what's he going to be? Oh, he wants to be an entrepreneur. No, that's not how it works. It's not a profession. It's an attitude. It's a behavior. Any other thing? I hope I haven't been so harsh with my answer. No. We didn't. They're mostly comments and congratulations. And there's a book that can help us to break our fear from change. Maybe someone from the national soccer team can know this. I had a show where I interviewed the most creative people of this country, and I interviewed artists and sculptors, and I got the first long interview to one of the coaches of the national soccer team, and I told him, I'm not going to ask you why this player is doing this. I want to I want to understand you as a
y de
person.
repente les enseño,
And then I'm telling you,
tú
hey,
cuando vas
when you
perdiendo,
are
¿cuál es
losing
tu
a
proceso
game, what is
mental
your mental
para
process
solucionar
to
el problema cuando
solve the
estás medio
problem when
tiempo,
you're in
todo?
halftime?
Me dijo,
And he told me, well,
pues la verdad me quedo en blanco.
I just
Yo
remain blank-minded.
se quedé en
And
blanco.
what?
O sea, eso fue lo que le pasó.
That's
Es
what
un entrenador
happens
que
to him.
sabía
He's
ganar,
a
pero no sabía
coach
perder.
who knew how
Pero
to
su
win, but
éxito
not how to
prácticamente, o sea,
lose.
ya después lo
And
quitaron.
that's when they
Pero
cut
ese era su
the
problema.
interview, and he was
O sea,
removed from his
no sabía
job.
cómo
He didn't know
reinventarse.
how to reinvent himself.
Y hay veces que lo
And
más
sometimes the
importante
most
también es
important thing in life
reinventar.
is getting to know how to invent yourself,
Sobre todo para un entrenador.
mostly for a coach.
Y dónde buscar
And
libros.
where
He
to
leído
find books.
muchas
Well,
cosas en
I've
mi
read
vida.
many things in my life, and
Dónde perder el miedo.
where
No
to lose your
sé,
fear, I
a lo
don't
mejor vaya
know.
a
Maybe going to
Acapulco, ahí hay
Acapulco,
una piedra
where
muy
there is a
alta donde
big
se pueden
rock, a big
aventar y
cliff
caer
where
al
you
agua,
can
no sé, o
jump from
sea,
it and go
se
and
pierde
get
el
to the
gatito,
ocean.
el miedo de poquito a
Just
poquito, eso sí se logra.
fear must be
No se pueden
lost little
aventar
by
de
little.
cero
You
a
cannot just
desarrollar
jump
algo para
from a
cambiar el
cliff
mundo,
and
no se puede.
develop
Tienes que
something.
desarrollar
You have
algo.
to develop
Yo
something, and
siempre he ido poco a poco.
slowly. I've done things slowly, so
Sí,
I don't know.
pues de poquito en poquito.
Just step by step.
El miedo es lo que te
Fear
paraliza.
paralyzes you.
Yo, por ejemplo, siento que
For example, I
mientras la
believe
gente le
that
gusta aventarse de un
when people
paracaídas, a mí me gusta meter
starts,
mi servicio o un
jumping from a
proyecto que no
parachute, I'd like to
es
launch
difícil
a
de
business that I don't
aterrizar.
understand.
Soy
I'm working with
director
people
y
who
no
are working
entiendo
in
de lo que
artificial
hablan.
intelligence. I'm
Así,
the
digo,
director,
¿qué
and I don't
dijo?
know what they're
¿Qué
talking about.
dijo?
What
Es un
what should
reto,
I
es
tell
una
them? It's a
emoción.
challenge.
Bueno,
It's just an
eso ya lo
excitement.
tienes que sentir
That's what
cuando
you have to
aprendes a cosas
feel when you
nuevas.
start
Una
doing new things.
sensación de
Just this
ignorancia, una sensación de
ignorance
yo no voy a
sensation,
poder, esto
something
es más
feeling
grande
that
que
this
yo,
is
no
bigger
puedo
than me. I can't do
avanzar.
this. Is going to
Entonces,
just
todo
crush
eso
me.
lo puedes encontrar
This is
cuando
what you can find when
buscas
you
esos
look for
miedos y
those
o sea,
fears
no
and
hay
you
más,
carry
no hay
them
libros,
on.
tú eres,
There are no
es
books
personal,
about
no se
it.
puede
It's just
aprender
a
a
personal
nadar.
process. You cannot learn how to swim with a book.
Bueno, pues mira, la
Well,
verdad creo que ya
I think
se agotaron las preguntas.
we have no more
Algunas otras,
questions.
pero creo que
We had a few
el
questions, but
tema,
I think that the
¿no?
topic is just a subject.
Fue un gusto
It was such a
contigo,
pleasure
hablar
to have you here,
igual.
Carlos, and having this chat.
Carlos, cuando viene al consultorio nos
Carlos, when he
sentamos,
comes to my office, we drink
platicamos,
a coffee and we chat, and
esa es la
time
parte bonita de la
flies.
odontología.
That's the best part of dentistry, when you can
Con
chat
tus
with your
pacientes, ¿no? Cuando
patients,
estás ahí
not when you are
desmenuzando la pieza.
using the
Pero
drill.
de veras te agradezco un
But
todos saben, Jaime, todos saben que tú
you
tienes
all know,
frases
we
en
all
el
know that you
techo,
have
con frases chistosas o que te
phrases
hacen
and
pensar
funny
en lo
phrases on
interesante
the
de tu
ceiling
trabajo.
that make you think,
Es
well,
que
while
yo nunca lo he visto
they're
en
being
ninguna
treated.
otra
I've
parte
never
y me
seen it
parece
anywhere
muy
else, and
genial.
that's a
¿Por qué los
genius
dentistas
idea.
no pueden ser
Why
también
don't
humanos?
dentists
¿Por
can't
qué
be
tenemos que
humans?
entrar a un
Why do we have
proceso
to
tan
get into
agresivo y
such an
puede ser
aggressive process
divertido?
if it can
Igual
be
te van a
fun?
arreglar bien.
Yes, they're
O
going to
sea,
fix your teeth anyway.
no todos
So
entienden
not
eso y se
everyone
lo toman como
understand that.
muy,
They
muy
all
en
take it
serio.
so
Las cosas deben
seriously.
de ser muy
Things have to
profesionales.
be
Hay que ser
professional.
profesionales, hay
Yes,
que ser también
but it can also
agradables.
be
Y sí, ¿cómo
pleasant.
explicarlo?
I don't
Encontraste
know how
algo
to
que yo
explain.
nunca
You
había
found
visto.
something that I have never seen before.
Todo empezó con un pequeño
Everything
letrero en el techo
started
que
with a
decía,
small
"Respetaste mi seatbelt", se
something
llamaba
that's
el
said
refrigerador, y
in
la
my
gente se me hacía muy curioso.
in my
Tenía una
office that
ventana
said
y le
fasten your
decía, por favor de usar la
seatbelts,
otra puerta.
and then I had
No
a
salía por
window
la
that
ventana.
says
Sí.
please use the other
Luego vino
door.
un boom
And
y
then
la
a
gente
boom
pedía pósters y
came,
los empecé a
and I had
poner y los
posters,
cambiaba
and
porque
I
les
would change them, and I decided
Ya
not to
luego
remove
después
any of
empecé
them.
a traer
And
unos
people
más
started
pelados que no
participating.
podían, los
You
menos.
know,
Pero
the
la gente se volvió
patients
como,
start
quería
bringing
tener
their
el
own
suyo
phrases,
y
and
una consulta, querían ver
people
su letrerito
wanted
cada
to
rato.
share these phrases
Pero
in their
bueno,
Facebook pages too.
fue parte de
But
hacer
this was just
mi
part
lugar,
of
mi lugar de trabajo un lugar
doing my
agradable, un lugar con
workplace a
sentido,
pleasant
un lugar
place. You know, I
tener
like
plantas
to
ahí
have
acompañando,
plans to
siempre con la música
good
lo más
music
posible
and the
posible. Yo
best
sabía
coffee
algunas revistas,
ever
ahora
and
está
good
prohibido poner
magazines. But
revistas
now,
en el
we were not allowed to have magazines due to COVID-19.
Oye,
So
no, de veras te agradezco mucho.
thank you so
Quiero
much,
seguir muchas
and I
notas
think
para
many
tocar
people are
en
going to
esta
find
plática.
in this
Algo que le va a hacer sentido de
chat
esto
something that
pasado
will
después, como
make
dices,
them
esa
remember
vocecita
what
o
they've gone through
vocecitas
these last
que le han
months.
estado
That
diciendo
voice
algo
that
y
has
que
been
no
telling them
sabían qué es,
something
pues
that
es
they didn't maybe that what was that, and it's probably an idea that wants to hatch that wants to bloom, and maybe it could be for something that's really good, and maybe why not looking for a professional help. But innovation is an everyday process, is a daily process, and it has to be kind of practical and fun process and cultural process that makes without losing professionalism. And to those who are thinking of launching a business, where nobody tells doctors if or dentists if they have to invest in Arby's or in businesses or in burger joint, but maybe someday, a dentist cannot work anymore because their hands start shaking, or maybe you don't want to be a dentist anymore. Maybe you're not that excited of being a dentist, and now they come to see you because you're experienced. But there's also has to be a moment where you decide uh, when do I continue working on this or not. It's just part of a process that has been placing priorities of family, of friends, and things that we take for granted, that probably they will be there tomorrow, that we're going to go out there and see our friends in the bar, we're going to hug and laugh and kiss, and finally, pluck. It happens that Mama Covid said, you're not doing it anymore. So tonight, it's been a special night. And for me, it's been one of the greatest shows that we've had. And we're going to listen to comments too. I'd like to also acknowledge to our interpreter, Dr. Samantha Rispe, who you cannot see her, but she's always on YouTube channel interpreting of whatever we say here, if it's dental or not. And also, I'd like to invite you. Tomorrow, we're going to have a dental show, and we're going to speak about the different aspects and advantages of becoming associate of Asociación Dental Mexicana. And to those who are dentists who are not, please come in, and you're going to see what our association and the foundation is doing for society. And our next program will be in English, will be 8 o'clock, not at 7, 8 o'clock at night. Well, Dr. Michael Bleak and myself will be hosting and interviewing Dr. Luis Karakowski and Stefan Room, which is a professor of Buffalo University, specialist in saliva. And we know nowadays that saliva is going to be one of the most disruptive buccal health elements in the future. And we're going to start a new chapter where Dr. Rule, which is a researcher, is going to speak about evidence-based science. And I'm going to be the elephant in the glass shop. I'm the evidence-based. I'm the practical guy. And they are demonstrating me that we have to follow science. And we're going to bring authors of many articles that will explain the process of how research is carried out and how to translate those that data, the commas of 12 o'clock, the time of San Francisco time, and all that luminescence of I forgot how they're called, of those things that shine in the night, which are like fireflies. Oh, that's a very technical thing. That kind of articles that we sometimes see, which are complicated. We're going to have the authors, that you can ask them directly. What is the research good for dentists, and that patients have a better health? Carlos, thank you very much. It's been such an enriching experience being here with you tonight. Our sponsors, thank you to all of you who are watching us and listening to us in different parts of Mexico, Central, South America, Europe. Have a great day, night, or afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. And saliva is what's been making us all sick. So,
Sí, ¿no? Sí. Bueno,
isn't it right? Well, COVID-19. through saliva.
Así que me va a interesar.
Is
Cuando el paciente es positivo,
when the patient is positive, yes, it's lots of COVID-19 in the saliva. That's why we should be using the mask due to saliva. So I'm going to start reading about saliva now. Thank
ya vamos
you.
con los agradecimientos.
Un placer.
It's been a pleasure.
Entonces ya cerramos el programa.
So the program is wrapped up.
Si te lavas bien las manos lograrás prevenir con jabón y un buen tallado tu salud hoy queda en ti. Mas no olvides que tu boca es otra fuente de infección. Cepillarte bien los dientes te protege.